can. Oh, and it's nice and clean too. Perfect.
Great.
It's a Kickstarter.
Yes, there's a Kickstarter.
Yep, completely free to play.
Oh, you have like it so that anybody can go in and play right now. They don't need a key.
Yep, for now, anyone who can go to play.warofomens.com can play the game for free. It'll close on Sunday, but if you give them a beta key, they'll be able to continue playing indefinitely.
Very, very cool. Definitely awesome. Now, you should totally explain to people just a little bit about the way the game works.
Okay, well, at the high level, the game is a mixture of deck building card game like Dominion and a collectible card game like Magic the Gathering. We try to take our favorite elements from those two games and stick them together into one digital video game. On top of that, we wanted to make it really fast-paced, give it a really fun, sort of action-y user interface. Even though it's still a card game, you play lots and lots of cards, and it goes pretty quick. And just make it as, we all here, the designer and me and some of the other people, just love this type of game, and we really tried to put our heart and soul into it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of this kind of game as well. So I was excited to get the chance to try to give you guys a little bit more publicity, like right at the end of your Kickstarter, to try to get you guys a little extra oomph, some extra wiggle room with your finances. So,
You gonna play?
yes, I'm gonna play. Calvin, I'm giving away Omens keys. If you can copy and paste, well, not necessarily just Omens keys. There's other games as well that might win. So that's the first winner. I just literally highlighted it.
Okay, I get it.
So, okay, awesome. Okay. Now there's 3 different, what would you call them? They're not just gameplay types. They actually have like these
We
are
call
the
them
metrics.
factions.
Factions. Okay.
Yeah.
And they each have incredibly different play styles.
Right. So what we wanted to do, one of our game design pillar was to try to have asymmetric gameplay across the 3 factions. So we started off with a desire to create something very similar to Magic the Gathering and Dominion, but as we were building the game, we diverged from that a lot, especially where the factions are concerned. So when you look through the factions, that red one there, Daramek, they're the ones that are most similar to Magic the Gathering. They have some, attack cards, creature cards, stuff like that. It also has Dominion-like mechanics. When you buy a card from the bank, it goes into your deck, and then it can be played again for free if you happen to draw it. They have a lot of just sort of general mechanics. They have a lot of draw creature cards that draw additional creatures, and rights that for every card you play, you get a resource or an attack for free. The Vespitoli all have all their cards have the ability that when you play one, you draw another card. So you start with 10 ducats in your deck, and as you build your deck, you get more and more momentum. And the effect is even every card is a good decision in Vespitoli, which are the green ones. So the person you're playing is that. But making an optimal decision takes a little bit of tactics and a little bit of statistical analysis, sort of like playing a game of poker or blackjack. You're trying to figure out which cards to play to optimize your chances of drawing what you want to draw.
Right.
The guild or Metris is the 3rd faction that you don't see, the blue ones. All their cards have destroy on play as their part of their thing. What that means is they never get into your deck, so you never get a sense of momentum. There's no sense of growth. They play a little bit more like Blue and the old Magic the Gathering. Mm-hmm. They're very much about stealing from your opponents and playing out of their hand and playing their strategy against them. So the effect is your own cards are to supplement a strategy of messing with your opponent.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I may have just found a bug because my mouse pointer just disappeared.
Oh, and which one?
Like my mouse pointer disappeared. Calvin, did I do something weird? Because your mouse has like 700 extra buttons.
What's weird is that it's
It's showing up everywhere except on the actual window.
It's actually not
I
showing
saw
up
it for
anywhere.
a second.
Oh, it's blinking funny. What'd you do, Alex?
I don't know. Like I said,
Now it's blinky. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna try something here. Hold
it's probably on our side because it's happening all over the entire monitor.
on. And I lost it completely. Wait, there.
It's over. It's
Wait.
over there.
I can actually see your cursor.
Yeah,
Okay, stream.
that's the weird thing is that it's showing up on the stream, but it's not showing up for me. I have to look at the stream in order to see where my cursor is.
It works on this screen.
But it's
but-
still flashing.
Wait, there it is.
What are you trying to change?
I'm gonna try and change something here, but that's not gonna do it since it's flashing everywhere.
Hold on, give us 1 second, guys. We're having weird technical
Super
issues.
weird technical issues.
But anyhow, that doesn't mean that you have to stop explaining how the game works because it's actually
Oh.
very sorry, it's very involved
Ah.
and interesting.
Okay, so
Okay, so yeah.
Got
it won't capture the mouse now, which is a bit of a problem. But
That's okay. At least they'll see the actions that are happening.
Well, I guess I'll give you a little bit more about it. It plays a lot like Dominion, the actual game. So you start with 10 cards, ducats, in your inventory. The way they work is they give you 1 coin that can be spent to buy cards from your bank, which is that area to the left. Your opponent's bank is the area to the right. So as you buy cards, they get added to your deck. So you have 10 ducats, and if you buy that rat catcher, say in the upper left, you'll have 10 cards. You'll have 10 ducats and 1 rat catcher. So when you're drawing cards later on, you have a 1 in 11 chance of drawing your rat catcher. Actually, not right now because the rat catcher is still alive. But if it was killed, it would go back to your inventory where it could be drawn again randomly. That's how Dominion plays. There's sort of this sense of growth as you add more cards to your deck. It increases the odds of drawing them until you have like so you build momentum over the course of the game.
Yeah, that's definitely what I've experienced, and it's interesting because you've got 2 different decks that both let you actually build your deck, and then you have the one that like doesn't at all, pretty much.
Right.
But the way that the 2 that like they do let you build your deck, it's completely different because the like I'm playing with the red, I guess, cards, and the green. My opponent has the other ones, and I generally play with the green because I really enjoy the way that it kind of stacks upon itself, because it's a very like the resources and the way that the resources come about is very kind of like a domino effect. As you build your deck, more and more times you get more and more resources every single time.
Yeah, one of the advantages of the desire to have 3 very separate, divergent types of gameplay is it's easier to please everyone. The green is it's almost like playing a slot machine repeatedly. It's not like you can't really make wrong decisions. So it's kind of fun to just play your cards and pick and choose. And when you're building a deck, you're really trying to optimize your chance of beating your opponent at the right time before they beat you, and countering all their strategies by having enough attacks to deal with their troops, etc.
Right.
It's definitely a very different experience to play Red, who you're playing right now, the Daramek. Really, Red is about combos. I mean, there's lots of ways to play them, but combos seem to be the way that to win. So
Now,
what you're
would
doing
be a combo that you would like when you say combo? What is it that you're describing for the gameplay?
So you have a card in your deck. I saw you played it a little while ago, called the Scrivener. And what the Scrivener does is it draws a right from your deck on play.
Oh, like I have here. There's a card that's called Right of Brood. So basically, any card that has the right, it's a right. There's a right of combat as well. Right, and so I see.
Right, and so what rights do is you can't afford one right now, but a good way to do it is to wait until you have enough money to buy a right, but also you have a lot of cards in your hand, because a right does something for every card you play that turn. So if you end your turn now, and then on your next turn you play a single one of those coins, but you don't play anything else from your hand. and then you buy that Rite of Combat.
Oh, I see. And then I play all the other cards in my hand.
Right, and then every card you play will do a damage as well as doing what it does. So
And
also the Ratcatcher
yeah,
draws another card. So you just got a combo of the Rite of Combat doing a damage for the Ratcatcher, and then you got the Scrivener, and when you play that, you also do another damage.
but
So if you play, go ahead.
do I want to play the Scrivener, or because its activity is to draw a right? Do I want to
So-
wait until the Rite of Combat leaves play and then play it in my next turn?
And that's where some of the strategy comes in. I would advise to do that. I would hold the Scrivener in what's called the pocket. So I'd play the Tory, and then I would end my turn, or I might Ritual Slaughter to hope that I kill my Ratcatcher. Because you always want your Ratcatcher doesn't do anything when he's in play. You want him to die so that he can come back into play and you can get his advantage.
Right.
But you might as well actually play the Ritual Slaughter. That's probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't play when I've been playing. Oh, darn.
Yeah.
Nope, not so lucky, but that's okay. So I'll end my turn and let the NPC play. AI,
Yeah.
I suppose, play actually. They ended
And
up in the deck anyhow.
And now you want to play your Scrivener first, so that you can get your Right back into play before you play anything else. And then you want to play your Right, and then you can play all 3 of your cards, and they'll all do an extra point of damage. And you see his heart's in the corner. It's at 16, now it's at 15. Now the Orphan Gang will attack, so it'll jump all the way to 13.
Right. Oh, that's another thing to explain is the resources. There's the gold, which lets you play the cards, but then there's also these apples, there's these skulls, and there's magic.
Right.
And why don't you explain what those do a little bit? Because I can show, like, if I feed this apple to the Orphan Gang, it'll activate it again, basically.
Right.
But I could also feed it to my hero, which adds life points.
Yeah, so the coins, as you said, they're sort of the basic. They're like mana and magic, or land or whatever. And coins yeah, I guess coins. I forget what they call it in Dominion. They let you buy the cards from the bank. The apples or food. Food allows you to both heal and activate. So in some cases, like the orphan, his health is full. He has 1 heart. He can't really be hurt because he's only got 1 heart.
Right.
So if you feed him, instead of being healed, he'll activate and do a damage. So if you look at Sofocatra, he's got 12 health. If you feed the orphan, he'll have 11.
Yep.
You can also feed yourself. You have 15 health right now. If you feed yourself, you have 16. And then you can use the skulls. Those are attack cards. They're kind of the opposite of food. If you click on Sofocatro, he'll take a direct damage if you click on him with a skull, and you'll lose a skull. And you can click on any unit that's out, if there are any units out. So if Sofocatro has 4 skulls, so on his turn, he can kill all your units by just skulling them to death.
Right.
And then magic is a wild card. It allows you can use it to do anything else. So you can heal, you can purchase with it, or you can attack with it. Yeah, there, he just killed all your units with his skulls.
Yeah. Because he's mean. That's another thing is each hero has its own ability, like its own passive ability, and there's more than you only get to choose from 3 currently. Is that going to be the standard, and then the enemies are going to have a bunch of different ones, or how's that going to work?
Well, the way we set it up is you start with 1 hero from each faction, and then there are 3 total heroes from each faction, so 9 total heroes. And you earn them just like you earn cards. You unlock them in packs. So the heroes are a little more rare than most things.
I would imagine, yeah.
So, like, if you keep playing for a while, you'll eventually get, a couple of heroes, and maybe you'll get them all if you keep playing for a long time.
Cool.
So, for example, Sofocatra's special power, that's your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Every turn, he gets 1 skull. Your special power is every time you play a card, you have a 15% chance of getting a random resource, which means that Liette's really powerful if you're doing a big combo. So when you're like playing rat catchers to catch scriveners and scriveners to get rights and rights to do, and you're rolling through your cards, which is, you can keep doing that. There are other cards for that too. Each time you do it, you have a little bit of a chance of getting a resource.
Yeah, which is awesome because that gives you the ability to play more cards if you want to, or affect the game in various different ways.
Right.
By the way, I'm liking all the little changes that I keep seeing because I've been checking the game out like every other day or so, and the skulls hovering over the cards and then like flashing with the red eyes and stuff. That's new. I like that. It's awesome.
Yeah, the animated cursor thing. I think it went in yesterday or the day before. We don't let people work. We don't let people at work sleep. So
That's what it's like being an indie dev. You don't relax. What's that? Sleeping doesn't happen. And if you play a game, you're playing your own game. Oh, like right now, that happened quickly. But I played the goat, and he had 2 hit points, the 2 hearts, and one of them went away. But then he, of course, killed it.
Apparently they just
But-
crossed. Is that this game? Is it?
What's up?
Somebody just crossed 500 backers on Kickstarter.
500 backers?
oh, great. That would be us.
Awesome! I hope some of that is coming from our show. I hope that you guys that are watching are supporting this game because you should. I did. Yeah, and you should all, when you back it, back the $40 one. That's for the what's the green? What is it called?
Vespitoli.
Vespitoli. Yeah, back the Vespitoli.
We have a little Kickstarter contest going on where we have 3 different tiers, one for each faction, and you get to vote on the faction you want to get a special piece of art that only that faction will get. So we're having a little Kickstarter competition.
Yeah. I'm all into that. I love that idea of voting for what you want in the game, even just on the basic Kickstarter rewards. I think that's awesome. It's very fun. All right, so I did it backwards. Poop.
Yep.
I should have played this first.
Yeah. So there's another thing we have in the game called the pocket. It's a very simple mechanic. You draw 3 cards every turn, but you can hold up to 4. What that means is you can always leave 1 card in your hand. It's a pretty simple, mechanic overall, but it adds a lot of depth to the game. And in the case of Daramek, it's often used to just pocket a right until you're ready to use it. So you can throw away the Ritual Slaughter for now just to be able to draw more economy, but you might want to hold on to the right and just end your turn with it, and you'll draw 3 new cards.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking of holding on to the Ritual Slaughter too because, does it take an effect if I don't have an ally to sacrifice?
No, it does nothing. The thing is, if you hold on to 2 cards, you'll only draw 2 cards on your turn, but that's okay.
I see. Yeah, so throwing it away would be fine. I might redraw it, but it increases my chance of drawing maybe a rat catcher instead or something.
Yeah, and it's you get to. This is part of the strategy. You get to decide whether or not you'd rather have the ducat, or you'd rather have it, or you'd rather just see what happens. So yeah, you got a rat catcher and an orphan gang. So this is probably better.
Right.
So don't forget to play your right.
Right. Yeah, this time I'll actually play. Like I said, I usually play the Vespitoli, so I'm not super pro at this. Oh, yep. See, and now every time I play a card, one of the enemy's characters, because the ability for these characters is that it intercepts attacks, so they don't go straight over to the hero's hit points. It actually stops them.
Yeah, if you try to use a skull on they're dead now.
Yeah.
But if you were to try to use a skull on Sofocatro, it would have hit the surf instead,
Right.
and they automatically block attacks in the way that's optimal, meaning the enemy. Sorry, the soldier with the most health will block the attack first, and then if they all have the same health, the cheapest one will block the attack first.
Interesting.
So serfs die before knights.
That's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of those kind of elements of the game aren't quite explained clearly yet, but after playing it for just a little while, you kind of get a feel for why certain things happen. So it's pretty clear.
One of the features we're thinking of adding, we're thinking about it, is sort of a right-click style zoom in that will bring the card to sort of almost full screen. And it will have very detailed description of all the card's mechanics. Like it'll say, rat catchers don't attack rat, or actually I think that already says it, but it'll go into the detail about exactly what, attacking weakest is and how things work. Right.
I'm interested in more about the heroes because something that they're not going to see here is that I'm going to win this and then they'll see it. Is that the heroes level up, and so do the cards.
So,
Sorry.
That goes a bit more to the Magic the Gathering side, but we try to take that and go a little further with it, where cards and heroes upgrade. Instead of doing this sort of you get to pick where your upgrades go, like you grind cards into other cards. We wanted to make it so that every time you unlocked a card you already had, it would instead power up that card. It helps get rid of sort of the, oh, I have a million commons, this sucks type feeling. So heroes also level up. Every time you use a hero and play with it gains a little experience, and when they level up, you unlock unique rewards per hero. We're still building that feature, but the thing that we do have right now is every hero has a unique card that you unlock at level 4, and then it upgrades at level 8, and then again at level 28.
Awesome. Yeah. And how many levels are there? Like, how far leveled can you get?
Well, right now we're not giving too much. We only give the hero cards. So the last reward we give right now is at level 28. But I don't think we have a cap on the number of levels. After that, it's more of a prestige thing. I think we're gonna add to multiplayer like what your hero level is, and it's kind of bragging rights when you're like a level 80 Mogesh.
Cool. Sorry for coughing so much on the stream. I just battled the flu, so I'm still a little phlegmy. Sorry. That's all.
You should be sorry, Alex.
I know.
You're about to win.
How dare you?
I'm about to win. This will be fun. I think I can play both of these if I need to. Bam. And I have enough apples and skulls because I just activate this orphan and he'll hit Suffocatro. Bam. There we go. And this is the winning screen. And do you want to explain the reward a little bit and go into that?
Sure. So you got 50 experience points. You were playing the AI on Apprentice, which is the easiest level. You got 50 experience points for your hero, and you got 50. We're still naming them, but in-game currency. I think we're calling them tokens for now. But you got 50 tokens that you can take to the store. Unfortunately, you don't have enough to actually buy anything. Things cost 100 tokens, a pack of cards. So if you play another game and you win.
I think I might be able to win one really quick with the Vespitol character. I'm pretty good at this one. Although this isn't my computer, so it doesn't have the super leveled up stuff that I have.
Well, I mean, if you log in with your character, you should be able to log in from anything.
That's my fault.
I don't know. Calvin did it wrong, or we didn't know what we were doing. But
I logged in with my Steam account.
Yeah, he logged in with his Steam account because that's what was running at the time, I guess.
I don't know how many games you've played, but if you want, you can log out of Steam in the bottom left and try logging back in as you. But that might be, sort of a waste.
Well, this is fine. I'm happy to play it just like this. I'm pretty happy with my strategy generally for this game.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll play through this a little bit quicker. But this time I'm actually fighting what are they called? The black.
They're called Metris. They're a secret organization of spies and assassins. Really librarians. It's kind of a weird subplot.
I'm curious about the story. Is the full game, because it has a campaign mode that's currently just kind of sitting there and you can't actually do anything. You're just teasing us with the button. Is that going to have like a storyline involved in it and everything? What's going to happen there?
Well, we've been writing a story for it for a while. The lead designer actually took a lot of the setting elements from I think 15 or 20 years of being a dungeon master, and the game story is a kind of a highlight reel of all the work he's done in Dungeons and Dragons throughout his career.
Oh, cool.
And then added to it a whole bunch of other people adding their own ideas, their own thoughts and interests. So all of these characters, especially Metris and the Daramek, are from that. So the setting is actually pretty, the storylines and the setting is actually pretty robust. There's a lot going on. We have all sorts of plans for various stories, backstories for all the characters, backstories for everything that's happened in the world. Everything has some twists and some turns, and we've got a writer working on the first story of the campaign, and we try to tell the story through a mix of the campaigns, the card quotes, and just like the little details on the art. things like for the Vespitoli, all the magic cards are religious because the Vespitoli's concept of magic is the religious. So prayer gives them magic, and supplicant, which is a person you pay to pray for you, or who prays for you professionally, gives magic as well.
Very cool. Yeah. I'll try to. We still have like a good half hour here, so I should be able to play another round or two of this, and also show people the deck building, which Hubs, no eating the lights.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. We have a cat that likes to eat electronics. So he's half gremlin. So
Get out of here.
Every chat cable I've ever had for Xbox has been eaten by my cats. Every one.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
They love those things.
I don't know why.
I buy them like 6 at a time online.
You know what we did actually is they make like this hard plastic cable covering that you can get to like organize your cables. But we just cover all of our cables in it, and he can't chew through it.
That sounds way too smart. I'm just gonna keep buying more cables.
You know, us devs, we got to min-max here, right?
Decadence. More cables.
All right, so so I'm gonna just show a little bit more of what my opponent has. Is he doesn't have really? Can you even get like creature cards, so to speak?
Not unless he steals them. There are no. Yeah. So the setting for Metris, the blue guys, they are. Imagine you're fighting against a spy, not like an organization, but an individual who uses his own tricks and his own expertise to undermine your military. And so, from your perspective, from Captain Lestrada's perspective, she fights with a military and armies and stuff, and she perceives this battle not as a fight with Theodox, but as a civil war with her own troops. She's not sure why, what's going on. There are terrorist attacks. There are people being seduced away, mayhem, all sorts of things happening behind the scenes. So the battle is kind of indirect, and it's all off the books.
Yeah.
So all of his cards like Surveil and Stratagem and Deceit and Satchel Bomb, they're all meant to happen from the shadows. And the battle, you imagine Theodox is just orchestrating this great subterfuge in Captain Lestrada's, whatever's going on for her, whether she's trying to siege something or learn something or whatever.
Right. The interesting thing to me about Captain Lestrada is the way that you play a card, and then almost all of the cards also have on play draw a card. That's like the big thing with this deck, for me at least in the cards that I've been selecting in my deck, and it's just a very interesting like concept in comparison to either of the other opponents, because it doesn't really happen that way. So you can really pace things very interestingly.
Yeah, and that's what we found early on is when we were trying to make the game, the different factions play differently. We started by having maybe 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 8 of the cards for Vespitoli have that mechanic, and pretty soon we realized all of them need to have it. That is what the Vespitoli are all about. So literally every Vespitoli card has on play, draw a card. And you can actually get in infinite combos. If you can keep drawing ducats out until you have 10 of them, then you can keep cycling all your cards, and you'll never draw another ducat because there's only 10 total, and you'll be able to play infinitely. The thing is, to do that, you need to use your bank. You need to use a card called Synod, which lets you restock your bank. It's not an easy thing to do, and it takes a long time. But if you do it, it's an instant win, assuming you have any attack at all.
Huh. Yeah. No, I could see that happening. It's just because you just never run out of resources, basically, if you get the right card set up.
Well, your turn never ends. You get enough skulls to eventually kill them, or you get enough magic to eventually kill them, or enough troops to feed to eventually kill them.
C, holding C.
Yeah, I just saw in the chat he said to hold C. Ooh, you've expanded the playing board. When I
Yeah.
started, it was just the small square here,
Do they
but I
try?
guess people have managed to get so many, um, so many cards in one round that you needed to expand it. Is that what happened?
I mean, it's not a common thing to happen, but yeah, you can have maybe 10, 15, 20 cards in play at a time, especially when you start off. The thing that we do when you upgrade a card, what happens is the card gets one cheaper, and as you upgrade more and more and more of your cards, the game gets a little faster paced, and the game gets a little shorter. So while during this stuff, while you've got every card is what we call inferior. They're all the maximum possible cost. Um, the games they go on a little longer, and you might end up with a lot more troops out before the game ends.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. What you've noticed, what you're doing there is you can feed the courtesan, the supplicant, and get turn food into what they make. So she's been feeding the supplicant and getting magic, which is a really good strategy. You almost always want to feed your supplicant when he's out.
Yeah, no, the magic, because magic is kind of the wild card of the resources, right?
Right. So you're turning food, which is single dimensional, into magic, which can do anything.
Right.
You might want to save up for the marshal. The marshal's a really good card.
Yeah. I'm not used to some of these cards because this is because I started playing the earlier version that you had like a while ago, and the starting deck was different. So I have a totally different set of cards. I'm not used to some of these.
Yeah, we played a bunch with the starting cards and decided that they were kind of boring on their own. We were giving away too much resource destruction in the starting deck, so everybody was playing a resource destruction deck, which is really not a very good game. But the Marshal is a card we added to the starting deck, and he's really cool. On the beginning of every turn, he causes everyone to activate again.
Oh, so it doubles everything, basically.
It doubles everything. So the Vespitali are all about that type of mechanic. They're all about exponential growth.
Yeah.
So if Theodox doesn't kill your Marshal, which he probably won't because he's the basic AI, you'll gain 4 skulls, 2 magic, 2 gold, and your militia will attack twice. So you'll basically win next turn if you want.
Right.
Entirely because of the Marshal.
That's very cool.
So, yeah, there you go. You've got enough now to kill him.
Yeah. Awesome. I just attack with the militia twice, and I just click on the health there. Bam! He's dead.
Yep.
Awesome. And I got another 50 of the in-game currency, the tokens, so I can go to the store and show how the store works. I'm going to pause real quick and just, Calvin, can you type !game? I just want to really encourage everybody to actually check this game out. And if you like it, if you think it's neat, and if you think these developers can make really cool games in the future too, back them, even if it's just for $1. It's such an just like I ran a Kickstarter a year ago, and I can still remember how emotionally exhausting it was running that Kickstarter. Just show your support. This is a really cool game. If you're into trading card games like Magic the Gathering or even like Yu-Gi-Oh, this is a really cool take on the game. I can only afford the basic pack, so I've just clicked on that. Do you want to? Let's see. I've got an option for 2 different new cards and the Herd of Goats upgrade.
So right now, when you open a pack, it determines the rarity that you get. So there's only one rarity. We found that otherwise you'd always just be buying whatever was most rare, which is kind of boring. So all 3 of these cards, you happen to roll a common pack. So all 3 of these cards are common, and then you get to pick one. If you pick a Surf or a Vintner, they're unlocked, and you can start using them from now on. If you pick the Herd of Goats, it starts to upgrade him. It takes 4 purchases to upgrade the Herd of Goats to the next level, and then after that, another 24 before he becomes the final level. There's quite a bit of depth in that, and all it does, I mean, the game is balanced fairly evenly. All it does to upgrade a card is to make it 1 cheaper. Also, you can put both versions of the card in your deck. So if you were to upgrade Herd of Goats, you could put in the 4-cost Herd of Goats and the 5-cost Herd of Goats in your deck.
Cool. Right. That's interesting. Because that gives you the benefit of having 50% higher chance or 100% higher chance of drawing it, whatever the percentage is. I'm not going to do math
Yeah.
right now, but it
More,
increases your chances of getting that specific card.
more percent higher.
Yes, more percent higher.
Yeah.
And there's and the way that the game is going to work is it's going to be is it going to be basically free to play, but you can unlock the advanced pack by buying things, and there's also gems that you can use to get premium packs. But
Yeah, so
it looks like what you are doing, just to point out, it's like with the basic pack, you do have a chance of getting rare or better. It's not like you're just locked into commons like I just drew. You could have gotten an uncommon card or something.
right. So the way basic every single card in the game, every hero, every advantage in the game is available in the basic pack if you keep playing. All the tuning we did in the office was done only buying basic packs. We never tuned on the premium pack or the advanced pack at all. And a lot of us wish we could. But the tempo of the game is designed to be fun for people who don't pay, and then paying is we gotta eat.
Right.
So the rarity curve, it's not that severe. It's not like it's kind of Magic the Gathering like. It's not like really bad like some of the iPhone CCGs where you can't even get rare cards or it takes years and years and years. After playing for a few weeks, you'll have most of the cards in the game, and most of your commons will be fully upgraded, and some of your uncommons might be, and you get most of the things just by playing the game. And if you do decide to monetize, you'll get some cool stuff right away. The monetization pack, if you buy it, it gives you a rare or a unique card. You only get one of the two best cards, or one of the two best categories of cards if you open that pack at all. There's no chance of getting like a common and uncommon or a scarce.
Cool.
And if you look through the deck builder, you're in the deck builder now. See that little symbol on the left of the card, the 1 or the 2?
Yes.
That tells you the rarity of the card.
Oh.
So if you go to Faith, there's lots of rarer cards in Faith. You'll see that like the Supplicant, for example, is rarity 2, which means he's uncommon. The Devotion is rarity 3, so Sibling Scroll, which means they're scarce. And then the Inquisitor in the upper left, and the Liturgy in the bottom right, and the Bishop are rarity 4, which means they're rare. The only thing that is unique, which is the highest level of rarity, is the coins, which is the 4th tab.
Yeah, I was looking at those. I was like, oh man, I want all of these. How do they work?
They actually replace one of your ducats. So instead of having 10 ducats, you'll have 9 ducats and a fool's gold or something like that instead. And what that does is it is sort of like it strengthens every deck you have by a small amount. They're not overwhelmingly good. They only give a small chance of doing something good. They're kind of like Liet's power,
right.
But they only replace 1 ducat at a time. But it's enough that when it hits, it changes the game, and they're incredibly rare, so you really want them, and there's no harm whatsoever in having one. Once you have it, you can put it in every single deck you have, and it's just sort of this slight bonus.
Yeah, it seems really cool. And so you can eventually replace every single coin in your deck, like because it looks like you have a whole other, basically the coin deck, because it's empty right here.
Yeah, and we're going to add a little bit more clarity here. We'll probably put in like 10 ghosted ducats so you know that you're replacing a ducat with a coin.
Right.
You're not adding. Adding would be bad, especially for Vespatoli. Odds-wise, you want the least number of coins in your deck as possible.
Yeah, you want to find a way to destroy the coins if you could. That would be awesome.
Yeah, and we looked into that. Dominion has lots of stuff like that. And it turns out for Vespatoli, it's just way too hard to balance. It's so strong to destroy one of your coins. The only way to destroy a coin for Vespatoli is to be playing against Betrus and have them destroy one of your coins. They can steal your stuff permanently. And if they steal your coins, it can really help you.
Interesting. Could help them too, so they have to that's one of the strategy parts.
Right. Yeah, so they have to choose whether or not that's a good idea. But they get rewarded if they do it.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing what you were saying. I mean, I kind of knew it before, but I'm really looking at it now. But like the storyline behind it and everything, you really see it when you look at the Vespatoli compared to any of the other ones actually. Like this one, slaves, rituals, and herds
Yeah, the
are like.
Daramek, yeah, the red faction, the Daramek, they're from a valley called Sitrak, which is actually their word for paradise, but it's kind of it's not. It's not. It's this old like cesspool of a place. It's fertile, but it doesn't like grow much, and it's got lots and lots of animals, and they're completely like it's pretty awful there, and it's got a very like highly differential like class system.
Hmm.
And the Daramek are the people are one of the tribes on top, and the things that the cards you play are slaves and herds. They're animals that you basically control. And if you play the cards, the more you play, the more you realize how messed up Sitrak must be, because herds are way more valuable than slaves.
Yeah.
So, and if you look closely, none of the slaves are very old, and that's
Oh,
because
really?
no one lives very long.
Oh man, that's an interesting touch. That's creepy.
So you
Nice.
fight with orphan gangs and gold panners and mobs of starving feral children, and that's the game. There's a
Wow,
little
that's
the
dark.
Yeah, it's a pretty dark thing. This was again one of Gabe's campaigns, and it was a fairly awful thing for them.
All right.
Uh,
I'm gonna look at the Metris too. I'm gonna open up that deck edit here.
yeah. So Metris, as I said before, they're spies. They have murder, conspiracy, and espionage. You get sort of an idea for what they're all about. Um, all of the you notice, by the way, for people watching, all the cards are grayed out because she doesn't have any of them unlocked. All the cards she has unlocked are currently being used in her deck. So if she goes down to her deck and puts them back,
Yeah, there we go. That one's
then
right
you'll
there.
see that they brighten up. So they show you what you have, and if you click it, it'll move down to its spot on the board. And as you play, you'll unlock more and more cards, and you'll upgrade the ones you've unlocked.
Right. Oh, and another interesting point about the cards is the art, because each faction has a different artist entirely, right? Or
Yep,
something close.
we had three different artists, one for each faction, and and then we had a fourth artist do the all the coins, and some of the other extra art was done by a fourth artist.
Wow, that's a lot of artists.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
so you should see a pretty stylistically like even without the colors and the themes, you'd still be able to tell the cards apart simply by the styles. Every artist came up with a style and made sure they were a little bit different. If you look at Daramek, they're a little more kind of sketched and rough, but they've got a lot of like complexity and detail. If you look at the Vespatoli, they're more ornate and they've got lots of complexity and lots of very like I don't know. Talk to an artist; they have better words for these things. They're ornate.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. And it's another thing that's very noticeable is the fact that the color schemes on the cards fit each other. Like the Metris all have lots of blue. The Daramek have lots of like reds and yellows just in the color of the art, and the Vespitol as well. They have like these beiges and greens. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
very well done. I like.
we definitely wanted there to be we wanted it to be obvious who was who and what was what. That was really important to us. And if you go into the deck builder, you also or into the game, you also see that oh, you're playing online.
I was about to, but then I thought maybe I shouldn't do that because then I'll really care if I win or not. So I have to. I'll
Well,
get competitive. Um, is there any difference? Do you that's something I actually was curious. Do you get any kind of reward for beating somebody when you play online?
well, what we did for now, we might add some more, but right now the reward for playing online is a lot more per win than the
Hmm.
reward for playing offline. And we definitely want people playing online. The game is most interesting. We tried to make a good AI. We tried to make it fun to kind of grind and get cards, but it's all about combat online, and that's
Mm.
it's a struggle between two players, and that's best done as a you know battle game.
Right, right. No, that definitely that's a good way to encourage people. How are you going to deal with the changes between like somebody who's just started playing and wants to play online and somebody who has like super awesome leveled up deck? how are you going to keep from pairing those two together online, or is that something you're just going to leave to chance?
Oh, we will do that. Uh,
That's in the plan. I mean, you're still
yeah.
like you're running a Kickstarter, so obviously this is not done. This is fairly early in development, so
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have ideas behind how to do that. We might make rooms or might make a matchmaking server behind the end. We want to avoid sort of one of the two camps that people fall into. On one side, there's sort of the early days of Counter-Strike problem where you always play it like it's a 20 or 10% chance that your game is fun at all.
right, right.
Like, because you're always going to be completely destroyed by your opponents, or they're too easy. And then there's that one like time in 10 where you play against somebody who's about your skill level. On the other side, there's the overbalanced
Right, where you never
one
ever get a challenge.
where everybody is so even that you win 50% of the time, no matter what you do. Like you can't, like it always just immediately balances you to right the exact spot. So every opponent is right at your level. And it's like you never feel like you're achieving anything because the stronger you get, the harder your opponents get, just
Right.
so quickly and evenly. So we have all of that in mind. We haven't really solved the problem yet, but we've definitely thought a lot about what we can do to do it. And for now, there are a few enough people in the game that we just want to make sure that when you go in multiplayer, you have an opponent. So it's completely open. It'll just match whoever. It's a first come first serve thing. It'll just match whoever's next, and that's pretty good for now. No one has all that good a deck yet.
Right.
I've played a lot. My deck's pretty good, but I lose a third of the time anyway. Like you just, it's deceptively random. Like you can outplay someone and they can still beat you some of the time because a lot of times it's about what you draw and win.
Yeah, yeah, because it is still a game where there is some luck involved, and how you handle whatever it is that you get handed.
Yeah, and like one of the things we decided to do with the game is every time you draw a card from your inventory, it is a brand new random shuffle. Like you draw a random card. It doesn't like it's not like Dominion where you draw them in order and then you shuffle them when they're all out. It's completely random each time. It makes it makes for a little bit more chance-oriented gameplay, but
That's
it also
cool.
makes the Vespatoli a lot more statistical in terms of like it's like playing poker. You're like, oh, I have four outs this turn. I'll play this card. Oh no, wait, I have a 3 in 11 chance of drawing the card. One of the cards that will keep the draw going. If I draw this card, it'll change that. If I play my Town Hall first, it's more likely to come back. So I want to do that. There are all these little nuances in the statistics when you're playing Vespatoli that wouldn't exist if they just stacked in a line.
Right. No, that makes sense. That's cool. And that's you just recently added that animation that shows the deck cards kind of moving around when you put them in.
Yeah, that's
And
neat.
that's a good way of signifying and kind of letting people know that that's what's happening. That's just I
Yeah.
like it.
If you mouse over the deck, it'll tell you how many cards are currently in it, including your
Oh yeah.
opponents. So you have
Oh
set your Metris, which means you never gain new cards into
right.
your deck. So it will always say 7,
Because I'll
or
have
when you
three in my
play,
hand or whatever's in
yeah,
my hand minus. Yeah.
yeah. And then if you look at Sofocatro, you can see that he'll have probably like 12 or something by now,
He
11.
has 11.
So that means he has 10 ducats in there and one non-ducat, and he has 2 non-ducats in his hand. So he's bought 3 total cards.
Right. And here I just played a card where you draw a card from the foe, and then I
Yeah.
can destroy it after use. So that's interesting. So now I have an extra ducat because of that card,
Right. And
which is
so
pretty
every
cool.
turn it's random. So what you see is like now you have 2 ducats because of it. Actually, Valdorian's ability is he has a 20% chance to do exactly that. So
So
his
it's
ability triggered that time. That's why you got 2 things.
right. So it was double plus good.
Yeah.
Um, actually, we are actually almost out of time. We've got a
Oh.
few more minutes. Do you want to just tell people a little bit about the Kickstarter and what they'll get when they back you, and um, just any other information that you really want to get out there while you have 500 people's attention?
Absolutely. I mean, we have lots of different rewards among the Kickstarter. We tried to make sure that anybody who comes in early is rewarded for it. This is our first unpublished game as a studio ever, like our first self-published game, self-funded, self-published. I mean, we made
Truly.
some small thing a while ago, but this is the first one that we've put any time and art and like effort into. And this is a big passion project for our studio, and we appreciate anybody who gets in early a lot. So one of the things we give away with any backer is the amount of premium currency equal to their backing. And then we give, on top of that, packs, and on top of that, a reward. So at the very least, you're getting premium currency equal to your backing, up to a certain amount. Above, I think, $250, we decided that would start ruining people's experience entirely. Because, the people who pledged $1,000, giving them $1,000 of premium currency, they'd be like, that wouldn't be fun for them.
Right. Yeah, you don't want the rewards to actually damage their fun. That's not cool.
Right. But up to that, we decided, hey, if somebody backs $50, at the very least, they get $50 of our game's currency.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get whatever else we give. So we have shirts, and I think we have shirts. We have art books, and we have cool custom things. Then at the high levels, we really wanted to let people be more a part of the game. So at the high level, you can have a custom hero card for you, or you can actually be an enemy in the story. And our highest single tier that no one has picked yet, as of before this, no one had picked, you can actually be God. You'll be the name of God for, depending on what the person is, either Vespatoli or Daramek. I doubt they have the same God.
Oh, that's so cool.
So no one's backed it yet. We've only got 24 hours, so it's entirely possible our poor story designer won't have to have Phil, the God of the Daramek. But if Phil wants to be the God of the Daramek, or somebody wants their cat to be the God of the Daramek, this is the time.
It's lovely. I won! Yay! With just a minute to spare. But so basically, guys, if this game looks interesting to you and you've been watching and you think that it's something you might want to try, now is the time to do it, because you get all kinds of cool extra bonuses, and early funding really, really helps indie devs. I promise, and they will love you for it. And it'll also, backing them will actually help them shape the game. So you'll actually take part in making this game better, which is a really cool and powerful thing, because you can give them feedback and you can, become a god, apparently, if you have enough money.
Yeah, well, I mean, for us, we wanted to open up the beta weekend for the last weekend because we think this is a great game. Everybody in the office loves it. So don't take my word for it. Play the game. Go to play.warofomens.com. Try it out. I think you'll like it. Everybody here likes it. And we've gotten mostly very good feedback from it. So if you like it, back it. And if you don't, that's up to you.
Yeah. And this is also there's only a day left, right? You have almost 24 hours and it's over.
Yeah, it's Sunday at 9, I think. So yeah, 24 hours.
Yeah. So.
Awesome.
Yeah. Everybody watching this stream, all 559 of you, you look into your hearts, and if you're kind of just borderline, I don't really know if I want to put money into it, you know what? You can still help by tweeting about it and posting it on Facebook and telling people. I'm gonna type the super magical. I spent a probably silly amount of time doing this, but there's a link that's gonna pop up from Moobot, and you can learn all of the different ways to help indie devs without spending any money. So it basically gives you a list and a little bit of a reason why, what each thing does. So you can post about the War of Omens Kickstarter on forums and whatever. But that's just me being a crazy dev. I'll stop now.
and for us, our game's gonna launch in a few weeks, probably, maybe a few months. No, better not be a few months. And just get in and play it. And if you back it, if you're in the beta, if whatever, I don't know how else to remember that it's going to come out. But watch the website or something. We're going to launch this game, and we want people to play it. And we really think that it's going to be a hit among the people who play it. So all we need is to get enough people to play it that it gets its own, momentum.
Yeah. I think it will. I think you'll find that a lot of people will be really excited about this game, because it's definitely different from most other CCGs and other building games of the decks.
Yeah. And if it's successful enough, we make enough money, we can put it on tablet, we can put it on Steam, we can put it on console. We want to do all that stuff. Oh, and while I'm talking about it, we're doing the greenlight thing too for Steam.
Oh, greenlight it, guys! There you go.
So greenlight it.
Is there a link to the Greenlight page on the Kickstarter
Uh,
or somewhere like that?
yes.
All right.
There is. It's
Yeah,
you have to scroll down a bit though, but it's there. It's like a page down or something. I can send you the link too for your chat.
Yeah, you can post it right in the chat if you want. That's totally awesome. But we're gonna switch over to something a little bit different. For an indie dev super show, we have an indie dev who also makes. He's also an indie filmmaker, and he does a bunch of indie game trailers that are live action, which is pretty cool, and other stuff. And he's gonna come on and
So-
he's gonna take over the stream. So everybody,
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming and showing off your game. It's really awesome.
yeah,
Well, thanks a lot for having me. Thanks for doing this for us. We appreciate it a lot.
yeah. No, I'm glad to help. I hope to see you guys have huge success with it. Yeah. We're gonna switch over now. So have a great night, and thanks for coming.
Thanks a lot. I will.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So everyone.